I know they would prefer in that one that you do a histogram. And with a histogram on problem 30, you're going to have to make your intervals. So the first interval should be from like negative 49 to negative 40, and then negative 39 to negative 30, negative 29 to negative 20, negative 19 to negative 10, negative 9 to 0. Then you're going ahead, okay, after that. So then you're going 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, and I think 41 to 50 should finish that. Describe the distribution, so describe the shape, center, and spread. Make a time plot of the values. They are listed in order from left to right, starting with the top row. So Newcomb's values, it wants you to make a time plot of those, meaning starting in the top left, that 28 is the very first point, and you should go all the way across. That's going to take all those values into consideration. So the time plot is going to be pretty long as you go across there. But you want to make that. And then part D, what does the time plot tell you that the histogram didn't? So the time plot should give you some other information that when you drew the histogram, it would not. This question will take a while to do, so that is true. All right, moving on, number 32. In 32, it asks you to make a stem plot. So you just want to do your normal stem and leaf plot. A stem plot with 3 digits is a little different. Just the first 2 digits will be the stem, and the last digit will be the leaf. So you start at 101, so 10 would be the stem and 1 would be the leaf. And then for 103, you'd still have that same stem of 10 and 3 as your leaf. Okay, it also says the shape of the distribution is irregular, which happens a lot when there's only a few observations. Are there any potential outliers? What do you think is an outlier? And then where is the center of the distribution? And what is the spread of the distribution? If you ignore the outliers, what is the spread too? So if you get rid of that one outlier, what would the spread be? Find the mean with the formula for the mean, so you can type them in the calculator and find the mean, and then it wants you to enter your data into the calculator, and it just shows you another way of getting the mean using the calculator. You don't have to use that. We usually use one variable stats, but it just gives you another option there. C says find the median of the scores, and then tell which is larger, the mean or the median. So if you did one variable stats on these, you'd be able to go ahead and explain that why. Remember we talked about the outliers pull the mean in one direction or the other. So the outliers will pull it one way or the other, so that would kind of explain that. All right, we go to 33. We kind of talked about this in class today, but suppose a Major League Baseball team's mean salary is $1.2 million and that the team has 25 players on its roster. What is the team's annual payroll for players? So if you know the average salary and you know how many players are on the team, you can get the total. Also, if you only knew the median, would you be able to answer this question? Why or why not? So if you didn't know the average for each player, but you did know the middle number, would you be able to tell how much the whole team made? Why or why not? So explain your sentences there. Number 34, last year, a small accounting firm paid each of its 5 clerks $22,000, 2 junior accountants $50,000, and the owner $270,000. What is the mean salary? And then how many of the employees earn less than the mean? What is the median salary? And then write a sentence to describe how an unethical recruiter could use statistics to mislead prospective employees. And we definitely talked about this one in class today. Number 35, the distribution of individual incomes in the United States is strongly skewed to the right, which means it has a tail out to the right, which means outliers to the right. The top 1% of Americans were 330,000 and 675,000. Which of these numbers is the mean and which is the median? Explain your reasoning. So think about it. Which one, if it has strong outliers and it's skewed to the right, which one would be higher, the mean or the median, and tell which is which. All right, we move on to 36. 36 gives you a list of scores on the survey of study habits and attitudes for 18 first-year college women, and then for 20 first-year college men. Make side-by-side box plots. What that means is make a box plot and then right under it the other box plot. So for both of those separately, you should be able to do box plots. That means go into Stat Edit, Stat Calc, do the 5-number summary, get the min, the Q1, the median, Q3, and the max, and then draw the box plots together. A side-by-side box plot, if you look ahead, it's the ones we made on the calculator today during class also. B, do the numerical summaries for these distributions. Well, to do the box plots, you should add the summaries, so just write those down. And then write a paragraph comparing the scores for men and women. What you're going to think is, what can I say about this? So you use everything that the box plot gives you to write a paragraph about these. Number 37, it wants you to look back at another page, page 20, and look at the shape of the histogram. Do you expect the mean to be less than the median, about the same, or greater? So which way it's skewed would tell you the answer to that. B says find the 5-number summary, so get all 5 and verify that. C is the range of the middle half. D, construct the modified box plot, and then E on your calculator, you put those in. Now we did do 37 in class, so only if you have not written those down would you need to do that again. Number 38 is the interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1, a resistant measure of spread. Give an example of a small data set that supports your answer. So what I would suggest on this is looking into this a little bit. See if you can find some information about this. I would Google, is the IQR a resistant measure of spread, and see what kind of information you can get and give some reasoning behind that. Okay. Number 39, find the total amount spent by the shoppers. If you look right below here, figure 1.19, which is right below us, displays the computer output for grocery shoppers. How you would find the total amount spent? Do you have the average or the mean? You do. And do you have how many shoppers there were? The count. That's the number of shoppers. You do. So can you find how much was spent altogether? Obviously, yes. Part B, make a box plot. Think about, for the box plot, you have the median, you have the min, you have the max. They put lower percentile, that's your Q1, and then upper percentile is your Q3. Okay, check for outliers. 1.5 times IQR, add that to Q3, subtract that from Q1, that gives you where your outliers would be, if there are any. Okay, and that takes care of tonight's homework questions. Now, the last thing I want to go over is the quiz. On the quiz, there are 8 questions. So you have 8 questions. You have probably a little less than 30 minutes, somewhere around there to do it, probably around 20. But here's the questions. So I'm going to ask you, not specifically, but I'm just going to give you some of the questions that you'll see on your first quiz. What are individuals? And basically, in a set of data, can you tell me what the individuals are? So look back at that. What are the variables? So I need to know the difference between individuals and variables. And look at the variables and be able to tell me what they are. Tell whether they're categorical or quantitative. So which ones can you say in words? Which ones can you say with numbers? Okay, then a pie chart. You will have to label the pie chart. So that's going to be part of this. Then you're going to get a bar graph, and I need you to tell me, like, from a graph, what's wrong about it. So there's going to be something that's wrong by the way it's presented or something, and you need to explain in detail exactly what's wrong with it. Okay, on the other side of the quiz, you're going to get a list of numbers, and you're going to get a dot plot. And the dot plot's going to be drawn for you already. And basically, it's going to ask you how you would describe the center and the spread. So it really wants you to calculate the center and the spread and tell what you use to do that. Then it's going to ask you for the 5-number summary. That's the minimum, Q1, the median, Q3, and the maximum. Remember, type them in stat edit, stat calc, one variable stats, and you can get all that information. Are there any outliers? Now it says justify your answer. That means we can't just say, oh, there's an outlier because it's out there, or what it's out there. You have to do 1.5 times IQR. You have to add it to Q3. You have to subtract it from Q1, and you've got to get your 2 numbers. And if it's an outlier, you got to tell because it's greater than this or because it's less than this, it's an outlier. And then part 4 says draw a box plot of the distribution. And it doesn't matter whether it's a regular box plot or a modified box plot. As long as you draw a box plot, it will be correct. And with the information you provided in 2 and 3, you would be able to draw the box plot from there. So that's your first quiz. That'll be chapter 1. That shouldn't take you too long. That'll be the first 20-25 minutes of class after we get started. So best of luck to you on that. And remember, you can check your grades online. I think I've done the first 2 days homework assignments for most of you, and you can go ahead and check that and see what you made on there. And you can check it every night, actually, so up until our exam. So, see you later.